I'm a loudspeaker designer for Yorkville Sound, recently retired about 2 years ago. And I've been involved with loudspeakers most of my life, from the time I was 12 years old, something like that. And I went to design school in Philadelphia, Temple University, for industrial design. And then I moved to Canada in the 70s. And to support myself, I was trying to do my illustration and design work, but really there wasn't that much of the type of work that I did, which is three-dimensional stuff. There wasn't that much of a market for it, but I was still doing loudspeakers in the background. And I've been building and testing, and I got my first crude equipment, which was a Radio Shack sound level meter and chart paper, and doing the best I could, which, if you know anything about measuring sound, is not the best in the world. And then somehow I heard about NRC and Floyd Toole, and I can tell you, as a U.S. person coming to Canada, this is an unbelievable situation to have the facilities that were at NRC for someone like me who had no money and was not too many brains either in terms of precise measurements. But anyway, that was a big asset, and we measured this and measured that, and what I thought was great wasn't. And then after that, I got my own equipment, actually. I had a tracking oscillator, which was built right here at Ryerson. It was a student project. And in exchange for that, I did a theater sound system, a bunch of folded horns and mids and whatnot. And I had a chart recorder, which was used with the Averill Arrow. It's a vacuum tube thing, weighed 300 pounds. But I did tests on that stuff for forever, until the Apple IIc came out with the IQS FFT program, which is a rudimentary, but the thing did do other things than just a chart recorder could do. And then I developed a line of loudspeakers, selling first to friends and then to bands. And then I started selling to Long & McQuade, and they bought my product, which was called the Woods loudspeaker. It was a wideband device. And after a number of years, their speaker designer retired, or left, I should say, and they asked me if I wanted the job. Now, at this point, I thought they were out of their minds, because I'd never worked inside before. Being a commercial artist, you go home and do what you do, and then you come in with your portfolio, and the speakers were the same way. I'd go in and set it up at the club, have the person come in here to let them test it out on their own. So I thought they were just out of their minds, and we just did a few days a week, and I was under contract. And the first thing they gave me to do was an inexpensive 15 with a small compression driver tweeter, which is the hardest possible product to do. There's no money in it, there's no parts in it, and there's just simply no room to move, but I guess they were happy with it because I stayed there for quite some time. And then after about 2 years, they asked me to go on salary, and I worked 2 days at home, and I worked the rest of the 2 days in the factory, and 3 days at home. And since I had my own manufacturing business, I could make anything they could make, any prototype. I could measure anything. It was just like a tiny Yorkville at my house, which is about 100 miles away from Yorkville. And that relationship lasted until 2 years ago, where I started doing my own business, which is kind of a fancy theater-type horn, made like the horns in the 40s, but used for modern sound reproduction in high-end home hi-fis or home theaters. And that is my story.